Okay, well, I just want to. I'm not going to do a full decode of this movie. I just want to talk about a few things or some certain things in this movie. But anyway, before I even go into that, I wanted to talk about the Twinkies. They look like Twinkies. They're minions, but they look like Twinkies. Even at my job, the Twinkies that they sell on the vending thing, they have the minions on the cover. So, I mean, they definitely look like Twinkies. And I talked about Twinkies when I did the Kurt Cobain videos, I think. And I talked about Weird Al and the number 27. He's like surrounded. Kurt Cobain died at 27. But they actually mention Twinkies are like a big part, not really a big part, but he just makes a reference to Twinkies or whatever, and it's the Twinkie Wiener Sandwich or whatever. But what's interesting is I didn't realize this before, but the movie came out in 1989, and that was before I really knew that much about Queen Elizabeth and whatnot, but she's 89 years old this year. I've talked about 89 a ton of times. There's even a thing called the Twinkie defense that I talked about. Basically, it's just an excuse to say like, oh, Twinkies made me rob the bank, just something dumb like that, and it's called the Twinkie defense. But it came about because this guy murdered the 37th mayor of San Francisco, who also died at age 49. Age 49. It was even the November 27th, where there's 34 days left until the end of the year. And that actually fits because the other guy who died was Harvey Milk. And Harvey Milk was the first openly gay person to be elected to public office in California. Actually, I believe it was the whole United States as well. So the 34, and I mean, he died on that day too, 34 days until the end of the year. It's all fitting with the domestic violence, the gay marriage, the theme that they've been running in the media. And also, it was in San Francisco, and I've talked about San Francisco, I don't know how many times. You got Pope Francis, which adds up to 122. San Francisco. Talked about the Golden State Warriors. Actually predicted the Golden State Warriors to win. Like 4 months before they even won. And they won 122 days after Valentine's. Golden State adds up to 122. And I talked about how it all goes back to Lupercalia, which is Valentine's falls during Lupercalia. Anyway, I mean, straight off the bat here, Illumination Entertainment. And then you got the one eyes. The guy in the middle is the one eye, whatever. To go figure. But this whole movie is about Queen Elizabeth and the reign in England or Britain or whatever, the British, whatever it is. The St. Edward's crown is what the whole movie is basically about who obtains the St. Edward's crown. And, I mean, throughout the movie, there's just lots of little things that deal with Queen Elizabeth. She's even in the movie, but it says the movie, the budget was even $74 million. Queen Elizabeth became the queen on 2/6 of 1952, but if you go from 2/6 to her birthday is 4/21, that is 74 days apart, except during a leap year, it would be 75. But if you go from 4/21, and then you go to 7/4, July 4th, it's also 74 days. It's kind of weird. I mean, and her birthday is just a super coded day. It fits with so many big events. It's even 4 months and 21 days before 9/11. So, and her birthday is 4/21, and then 4 months and 21 days before 9/11. I mean, that I'm not going to keep listing them all. You can go back and watch my previous videos. Like I said, I'm going to make probably some recap videos, but I just can't keep explaining it all the time. So basically, the whole movie is the minions were the beginning of life kind of thing. And then as they evolved, they just wanted to find a master to follow. So the whole movie is they go through life trying to find a new master to serve or whatever. So they they accidentally kill them all. Like T-Rex was one of them. At one time, they accidentally killed T-Rex. Napoleon was one of them. They accidentally killed Napoleon. And then basically the whole movie is set. They go to look for a new master, and it's in the United States in 1968. Also, throughout this movie, they are obsessed with bananas, and they're like banana whatever, and they just mention it a lot. Even this girl wearing the banana dress or whatever, and the word banana in gematria is 33. So just found that kind of interesting that they're obsessed with the banana, and banana is 33. There's also a decent amount of the black and white Masonic checkerboard floors in this movie. And even here they have the two staircases. So just pointing out little things here. And then I'm always talking about mirrored numbers and just the mirror, the as above, so below, whatever. And Bob, this guy is Bob, and he goes into this round room with mirrors all around it. So his name's even a palindrome, so B-O-B is B-O-B backwards even. And you actually see mirrors a lot of times in like movies about time travel or time portals or going to the other side. It always seems like a mirror is involved. I mean, that's just me personally noticing that. I haven't really talked about it a whole lot, but in a lot of movies with time travel and maybe going to a different dimension or something, there's always seems like there's a mirror involved. So then they get locked in this building or whatever, and they're watching TV, and the Villain Network channel comes on, and that's where it's like this villain con is what they go to find a villain so that can be their master. That's what the whole point of the movie is. But even like the Villain Channel Network in gematria, it's 242 and 98. But interesting, this movie is based in 1968. And Queen Elizabeth was 42 years old in 1968. And then she's also 98 this year, the mirror of 89. Or she's 89 this year. And then Villain Network Channel also adds up to 98. We've talked about 98 a lot with Tom Brady and Philadelphia and tons of stuff if you go back. But also just VNC is 39. The word Minions is 39. So just a lot of interesting stuff here. They even mentioned that Villain Con has been going on for 89 years. And the Villain Con actually is in Orlando, Florida. They say the address, I can't quite hear it. It's 545 Orange Grove Avenue or something like that. But just the 545-54 is love, and it's the mirrors, the love and the evil. And then Orlando is even 34. And I've talked about how that's significant in previous videos. It goes with the domestic violence. Even really funny because it's just kind of weird. They go to Orlando, and then in that, I just talked about Roddy Piper, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And one of the episodes that he was on two of them. It was the 52nd and the 98th episode. And the one of them, they get a timeshare. I think it was the 98th episode. But the timeshare is in Orlando, which weird. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not that weird, but it is kind of weird because I have never heard about Orlando until just recently. So, I mean, it doesn't really have to mean anything, but, I mean, it's just weird that it's starting to pop up now. I've seen it in multiple things. I also think of Shaquille O'Neal and the Orlando Magic, and also Dwight Howard, I guess. But and Shaquille O'Neal's 43 years old, and then Magic in general, so who knows? Orlando is even on 81 West, which 81 and 34 are the mirrored numbers. 1981 was 34 years ago, and 1934 was 81 years ago, is what I mean by that. Also makes me think of Pope Lando, who was the 121st Pope, 121. Revelation adds up to 121. Valentine's adds up to 121. Oh, what did I... Donkey Kong was another one from the movie Pixels. But he was actually the last pope before Pope Francis to use an original name or whatever. The last pope to use a papal name that had not been previously used until Pope Francis. So just found that kind of interesting. But going to move back on to the movie here. So as they're leaving to Orlando, they actually cross this bridge here. And I'm not actually sure what bridge this is. It's in New York City. I've looked up these bridges. I can't really figure out which one it is. But just it doesn't even really matter because it's just, once again, they have to show a bridge in the movie. They've done a lot with the Golden Gate Bridge lately. But I've also seen Oh, I can't think of what the bridge is called right now. I'll look it up real quick. It's this bridge in Philadelphia, the Benjamin Franklin Bridge. I've seen this bridge in a lot of films and whatnot. The Pope's coming to Philadelphia when he comes on the 266th day. He's the 266th Pope. But this bridge was actually built or opened on July 1st, 1926. So that would have been 89 years ago from July 1st. And also in Gematria, this bridge is, in English Gematria, is 1188. So we've talked about 88 a lot, but the year 4949 on the Hebrew calendar, depending on the day, it's the year 1188. Also, and then if you change it, it can also be the year 1189, which is really interesting considering that's how many chapters are in the Bible. And even the word revelation even adds up to 49. 49, 67, and 121. So just found that pretty crazy. Who knows? Like I said, don't even know what bridge that is, but they have been symbolizing the bridge a lot. People in the comments have helped me out and talked about how they're opening up the gate, and so that's what the gate's all about. There's also a golden gate. I can't even remember where it was. It was this here in Jerusalem, actually, and basically it talks about a new gate replaces the present one. That is why Jews used to pray for mercy at the former gate at this location. So just, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. It's hard to fit into these videos here. So going to move on here. And then, so they get picked up by these other villains, and they get a ride to VillainCon, but they stop and rob a bank on the way there. And the cops are chasing them. I'm just going to play the clip and kind of show you here. They did this in the that Looney Tunes movie that I talked about. It was like supposed to be Space Jam Part 2 with Brendan Fraser. That one was all about Queen Elizabeth as well. My computer goes so slow, but here in a second, you'll see what I'm talking about. Right here, they do the water tower thing. The water tower that falls, the dam breaks or whatever. They do this in a lot of movies too, so I don't know what it signifies really. I don't know if it's about the Hoover Dam or if it's just the water breaking, or I really don't know, but they do put that in a lot of movies. So when they get to this VillainCon, one of the guys they show is Professor Flux, and right here it even says ahead of our time. Since 1945, I know you can't see it with this thing blocking it, but it says since 1945. And that's interesting because he invents a time machine. In 1945 is when the atomic bombs, the bombings happened or whatever. So we got Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and it was on, Nagasaki was on 8/9 of 1945. 45 is evil. But also, the first one was Little Boy, and it was uranium, but the one in Nagasaki on 8/9, like 89, was the plutonium one. And plutonium is what makes time travel possible. In the Manhattan Project, they called plutonium 49. It was also called plutonium 239. We've talked about 923, I don't know how many times, and 239. It all goes together. I've talked about it previously. Taking up way too much time, but yeah, interesting. It's the plutonium one. Even the word implosion adds up to 122, like Pope Francis and San Francisco and Golden State. So I guess moral of the story is, maybe that's true. Maybe they did discover time travel in 1945, or maybe like the first time machine was built. Because I know the Philadelphia experiment was from 1943. So, who knows? Just found that interesting.